On February 18, 2025, the world watched with bated breath as a dramatic and dangerous incident unfolded over the South China Sea. Tensions between China and the Philippines, already simmering for years, escalated dramatically on this fateful day. What was supposed to be a routine reconnaissance flight over the contested waters of the South China Sea quickly turned into a heart-stopping near-miss that could have had catastrophic consequences. A Chinese Navy helicopter, in a brazen display of aggression, came within a hair's breadth of a Philippine aircraft, creating a tense and dangerous situation in the skies. The encounter, lasting an agonizing 30 minutes, unfolded with the world holding its breath. Pilots on both sides were acutely aware of the stakes, knowing that any miscalculation could lead to a deadly collision. The Chinese helicopter, according to eyewitness accounts from journalists aboard the Philippine plane, performed dangerous maneuvers that seemed designed to provoke and intimidate. These were not the actions of a military conducting routine operations. The maneuvers were erratic and aggressive, clearly intended to send a message. This was a deliberate escalation, meant to intimidate and assert dominance over the contested waters. The Chinese military was making it clear that they were willing to take risks to assert their claims. The incident occurred near Scarborough Shoal, a flashpoint in the long-running territorial dispute between China and the Philippines. This area has been a source of tension for years, with both nations claiming sovereignty. This was more than just a near miss. It was a stark reminder of the fragile nature of peace in the region and the ever-present risk of conflict. This was a calculated challenge to the Philippines' sovereignty and a stark reminder of China's growing military assertiveness in the region. The message was clear. China was not backing down. The incident sent shockwaves through the international community, raising fears of a potential miscalculation that could ignite a broader conflict. Diplomatic channels were immediately activated, with calls for restraint and dialogue to prevent further escalation. The response from Manila was swift and indignant. Brigadier General Jay Terella, spokesperson for the Philippine Coast Guard, condemned the Chinese helicopter's actions. He called the maneuvers irresponsible and dangerous, highlighting the gravity of the situation. This was not mere rhetoric. This was a clear message to Beijing that such actions had consequences. The Philippines sought to de-escalate, appealing to international norms. China seemed intent on reinforcing its claims, regardless of the risks. The incident highlighted the dangerous game of brinkmanship that was unfolding in the South China Sea. To understand the current tensions, one must delve into the historical quagmire that is the South China Sea dispute. This region, rich in history and resources, has long been a focal point of maritime navigation and trade. The South China Sea, spanning over 3.5 million square kilometers, is not just a body of water but a crucial artery for global commerce. Its strategic importance cannot be overstated, as it serves as a conduit for a significant portion of the world's shipping trade. The overlapping claims of various nations have their roots in both historical and modern contexts. Ancient maps and records show that different empires and kingdoms have navigated and utilized these waters for centuries. However, the modern dispute began to take shape in the 20th century, as nations started to assert their sovereignty over different parts of the sea. For decades, this strategically vital waterway has been a source of contention. The South China Sea is one of the busiest maritime regions in the world, with thousands of ships passing through its waters daily. This heavy traffic underscores the sea's importance, not only for regional players, but also for global trade and economic stability. 6 nations, China, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan, lay claim to parts of this maritime region. Each of these countries has its own historical and legal justifications for their claims. The South China Sea is believed to hold significant untapped resources, making it a highly coveted area for energy exploration and exploitation. Fishing rights also play a crucial role, as the sea is a vital source of livelihood for millions of people in the region. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague ruled against China's claims, stating that they had no legal basis under international law. Despite this ruling, China has continued to assert its dominance in the region, building artificial islands and increasing its military presence. The Philippines, a nation far smaller than its powerful neighbor, finds itself on the front lines of this geopolitical struggle. The country's strategic location and its own claims in the South China Sea make it a key player in the dispute. Its claims, rooted in historical usage and proximity, are constantly challenged by China's increasing assertiveness. The historical usage argument is based on the long-standing presence of Filipino fishermen and traders in these waters. However, China's modern-day naval capabilities and economic power have made it difficult for the Philippines to enforce its claims effectively. The Scarborough Shoal incident is merely the latest chapter in this long and tumultuous saga. This particular standoff, involving Chinese and Philippine vessels, highlights the ongoing tensions and the potential for conflict in the region. The Scarborough Shoal, a small but strategically located reef, has become a symbol of the broader struggle for control and influence in the South China Sea. On February 13, 2025, an Australian reconnaissance plane found itself in a similarly precarious situation. The aircraft was conducting a routine surveillance mission when it was suddenly intercepted by a Chinese fighter jet. The encounter quickly escalated, with the Chinese jet engaging in aggressive maneuvers that put the Australian crew in immediate danger. A Chinese fighter jet, in a reckless display of aggression, fired flares near the Australian aircraft. The flares were not just a warning, but a clear message of intimidation, designed to disrupt the mission and force the Australian plane to retreat. This kind of behavior is not only dangerous, but also a blatant violation of international norms and agreements. It highlighted the indiscriminate nature of China's actions, targeting not just its immediate neighbors, but also regional powers like Australia. The implications of these actions are far-reaching, affecting not only the security of individual nations, but also the stability of the entire region. The show of military might during parades and the aggressive actions in the skies are part of a broader strategy to project power and influence. This approach not only threatens regional stability, but also challenges the international order. The world watched nervously, waiting to see how far China would go. The international community is on high alert, monitoring the situation closely and preparing for potential responses.